Good evening. I know I am running a little bit late, but I guess tonight's segment, I want to be more open about my situation. Since I am talking about I vow to reconnect, I really started this as a self healing process on reconnecting with my own relationship. See, my paternal father, birth father, was not in my life for all of my life, all 29 years. And now he's back in my life, but it's strained. And the whole point of reconnecting with him is trying not to give up, trying to keep connecting. Even if we fall off, this is Wi Fi, you lose signal so many times. You might get mad because the signal got lost, the connection lost in translation. But I still want to try to keep connecting. Try everything I can possibly try to connect and reconnect and stay vowed to connect to him. And I don't know him. He doesn't know me. And I'm trying to understand his point of view and the way he sees things without losing my sense of self and how I am as a grown woman. Because that is very hard when you are without the missing piece for so long that you don't even really know how much you need that puzzle piece until it's like the centerpiece of the puzzle. And it's the only way to make it complete. So, I don't know. I mean, we had this huge argument, and for some odd reason, he panicked and he disconnected. And I mean, I've asked, I've apologized, but sometimes life doesn't happen the way you want to. No matter if you apologize after an argument or what say you, it doesn't mean that the other person is going to come around. It doesn't mean that you're going to reconnect with the other person. You just got to still, you know, leave the door open. I mean, there's nothing you can do when they disconnect and they retreat and they hibernate to the point that you get tired of waiting by the door to see if they'll come back to reconnect. And I feel like the hardest part for me is knowing that we may never reconnect. And sometimes that happens with families. You know, you have so much distance between y'all that the time it takes to reconnect is, to some people, is not even worth it. You just go about your life, they go about their lives, and the fact that you just know that they're in reach is good enough for you. And then for other people, it's not good enough for them. I think I'm more 50-50. Like, 50% of me is like, it's good enough for me. I'm glad, he's tangible at this point. Whether we have a solid relationship, I don't care. And the other 50% of me is like heart tugging, like, I'm going to keep clawing at this wall until it breaks. But there's so much clawing that I can do for this wall that it's not even possible. Especially you've learned so many traits from the people that you did grow up with. Don't forget all of, different personalities. Just because they're your birth parent doesn't necessarily mean that all of your personality traits are going to come from your birth parent. Those are usually learned traits by who raised you. So if your mother raised you, you're going to have learned traits from them. You might have some learned traits from your birth parent. You'll have traits from a step parent who might have stepped up and stepped in and did what they need to do to make sure that you are the nice, law-abiding citizen out there. And there's nothing that we can do about that. You can't forget you trying to reconnect with people you've never known. And what I mean by that is when you're reconnecting, all the things that you've learned from your mother, or if you were raised by your mother or your father or your step parents, and that shaped you into the man or woman that you are, you can't just try to push that to the side or erase, your lingo, your colloquial euphemisms, the way you talk, the slang, down to the regional talk. Like if you're in Seattle, you're not really going to talk the same as if you came from the southern border of Mississippi or the southern border of Louisiana. So you can't really mimic people that you don't know just to succumb to their feelings, just to cover who you are, just so they'll be okay. Don't give up yourself just so the other person can be okay. Feel like there's something there they can work with. Because 9 times out of 10, a lot of us, we're adults now. Some of us are married off when we start reconnecting. Some of us have kids, grandkids. And the whole disconnect comes when, your birth parents have this facade of what you used to be, or what their last memory of you was, and not the person you are now standing in front of them. And that's where they have to really start to take hold of. That's the initiation of your relationship, is where we are now. You can't think about who I was before. I'm not 5, I'm not 10, I'm not 16 years old. I'm a law-abiding citizen, pay taxes, career job, whatever. You have to start where you are, not where you used to be. No shoulda, woulda, coulda been. No ifs. And I feel, to me, in reconnecting, both parties seem to be misunderstood. We get to this point where I don't understand who you are, the way you say things. Because a lot of times in arguments, it's not even what you say, it's how you say it. Or the fact that, yeah, you can throw out facts a lot, but the other party already knows the facts. Throwing it out just makes it even worse. I mean, sometimes you just throw it out. I mean, some people throw it out because they want a reaction, and some people just throw it out not even thinking about how it's going to make the non-parent feel. So we have to choose our actions, not just our words wisely, but how we act towards them wisely. Because this has got to be the most hardest thing I've ever been through. Like, I've thought in 2018 that everything was starting to look up for me. You know, the career job, you know, getting back on my feet as far as writing and podcasting and blogging. But relationships, especially this type of relationship where you're having to restart all over again, is something I just cannot connect with. I don't know. Sometimes I want to throw my hands. Sometimes I want to go to church and lay it all on the altar. But I'm going to tell you something about laying things on the altar, especially relationships. You lay it on the altar, next minute they message you or something happens, and then you're back in a frenzy. And I feel after my birth father's mother passed, that everything split. Like, that was the only connection I genuinely had on his side of the family. Like, I wish she would be alive right now. I think I would better be able to handle this type of reconnection with his mother being living. But she's gone. And now it's like I'm on my own trying to reconnect her relationship and riding the seesaw, trying to figure out, do I want to go up or do I want to go down, or do I want to level out, or do I want to just get off the freaking thing and just leave? Like, the emotions that you'll have with vowing to reconnect is whether you keep trying to connect or do you just give up? Do you just get tired of the back and forth, the disconnect? There's so many disconnections. And within the first year, you're just disconnecting back to back. Some you connect right away, and some, for the harder ones, especially those who, have never had a connection. I mean, not as a kid, not really ever. It's hard to connect to them. You feel like you're out of touch, like you don't belong. Like, I remember sometimes going to visit him, and I just felt like I did not belong. Like, I didn't know where I fit in the puzzle. With his family, I still feel like I do not fit. Like, I was raised by a whole totally different man, and I'm grateful for that. But with my biological father's family, I don't fit in at all. Trust me, I do not fit in. I am like the youngest of the first cousins by a decade plus. I just don't know where I fit in that family at all. Like, the only place where I can remember where things felt like home, like I didn't mind, was his mom's house before she passed. Like, I would go over there all the time. I'd be happy going over there because I got to cook. I love cooking. And she would make popcorn over the stove, make 7-layer cakes, make homemade pizzas, like make homemade biscuits. Like, it might seem small to a 7, 8-year-old kid, but those are monumental to me. And when she passed, or when she was put into a retirement home and then passed, I just, I couldn't do it. It just felt like the puzzle piece just wouldn't fit anymore. There's no light with that side of the family. Like, nothing fit. I really never felt like I fit in. It doesn't matter how many times someone says you're welcome anytime. Take away how they feel. Take away what they think of you, or how they think of you based on your reserves towards them. Because it's really about you, just like it's really about me. In this moment, I do not fit in with them. I mean, yes, they're blood family, but I don't feel like I fit in anywhere with their family at all. And yes, you'll hear me saying their family a lot because that's how I feel. I feel like it's his and his family, and my mom's side is my family. Because I can go to all her extended family and I fit in. Class clown, like, I don't have to try to fit in. Like, they make sure you're welcome. Like, I don't feel a disconnect. Even meeting new family on my mom's side, I don't feel a disconnect. On my dad's side, I feel a disconnect. Something just doesn't feel right. I really don't feel like I connect with them. And it doesn't matter how many degrees you have, whether you have bachelor's, psych degrees, med school degrees, law degrees, there's still going to be that ache somewhere inside of you that you're trying to figure out how to connect with your birth mom, birth father, how to connect with their family, how to connect with cousins, how to connect with aunts, uncles, everything. I just couldn't do it. I can't connect. I mean, I have memories, very vague memories. They're not as many memories that I have with my grandmother on their side. I don't know. Like, you ever feel like someone, like they visibly see you, but they don't see you? Like, they don't see your emotional standpoint on different things, your moral standpoint on different things. Like, everything is about the other person, and they're not weighing out both sides of the story. Like, I understand now that he's just a man who's been through a lot. He's been through, felt like the world was against him in times of his life. I'm understanding, but I still don't share his pain, nor will I want to share that type of pain. I don't want to put that burden on myself when I don't have to and don't need to. It's just a matter of making sure you stay vowed to connect with your birth parents. And understanding and being okay with the fact that the relationship that you want to have with them or the relationship that they want to have with you might not necessarily be the relationship you get. You might not even get a relationship at all. You might not even want the relationship at all. You know, it might be a long distance relationship. It might be a strained relationship. It might be a relationship where y'all can't even compromise on anything. And for me, I don't even know what this is at this point. I don't know. In some instances, I can go about my day working 10-hour shifts and not care. And some days my mind will just OCD until I fall asleep, overthinking every little detail, trying to figure out what other ways can I reconnect. And I feel like I'm about out of all the ways to reconnect. Like, I really feel like I have no other options to connect with him. But a lot of us can. We can reconnect to our parents. Some of us parents, we've been with our parents for, most of our childhood, and then they probably left. Some of the parents may have been in and out, come when they want to. Those are somewhat easier to connect once you learn how to forgive them for being inconsistent in their parenting. And that is really hard too. Understanding that some people did not really want to be a parent. My father just didn't raise any of his kids at all. I wasn't raised by him at all. So I have to understand the fact that he doesn't know how it is to be a parent. And we have those. You have those who were kept away from their child for whatever reason, and they feel, that the reason they can't connect is because they don't know how to be a parent. And they're starting out being a parent to an adult and not a kid who's more easily to love you unconditionally. Whereas an adult, starting out parenting an adult, you have so many reserves. You don't know if the adult is going to snap at you, how they feel, how you feel. So you start inching away. They start inching away. And then we're both fully disconnected. We turned off all services. We don't want to talk to each other. We don't want to see each other. We don't want to look at each other. We don't even want each other's names brought up in our presence. And all that boils down to is unforgiveness. Just let it go and reconnect. I'm not saying you gotta be Mama Mia's big happy family, but try to be the best family that you know how to be. The best daughter, the best son, the best sibling, the best parent that you know how to be. I can't really speak for anyone else out there. But I would love to hear anyone's stories about how easy or hard it is to reconnect with your birth parents. You know, there's so many stories out there. But I mean, you just have to do it. There's so many people that's been adopted who, when they finally meet their parents, they lost that opportunity to reconnect. Their parents probably had cancer and passed away. Their parents probably just told them, I couldn't be your parent. I'm not the parent type. I'm not supposed to be a father. I'm not supposed to be a mother. That wasn't my title. I gave you up because I wasn't ready to be a parent. And you might feel a lot of rejection for those who have been adopted, but for those whose parents have been incarcerated and come out, you'll immediately start thinking about the choices they made in life and how it affected your life. And even though you were either raised by great parents or you were raised by the worst of society, you're really going to start seeing that disconnect in why they didn't step up to the plate. But we have to take a step back and realize that we're all human. We're all human beings trying to live our life the best way we know how. And we have to just vow to stay connecting. No matter how many times the connection falls, no matter how many times we want to bang our head against the wall and say, I quit. No matter how many times we're saying, you're dead to me. You don't exist to me. Screw you. Fuck off. All this stuff. It doesn't mean anything. You can say that till the cows come home, but the fact of the matter is, you're still blood. Their DNA is still running through your body. Start somewhere. It doesn't have to be big. This is not a competition. It's not go big or go home. Start where the one thing you know how to start. I know streaming TVs are out right now. People have Netflix. Favorite books out right now. I mean, if they're so out of touch with society, teaching them how to work a streaming TV or teaching them how to work a tablet. Small things that you can do to connect. But just connect. Keep trying. If they brush you off or y'all get in a huge fight, especially like I did, keep connecting. And if they get volatile and start trying to curse your name and all this stuff, go to church. Put them on the prayer list. Shoot. Email a couple of churches, 3, 4, 5, 10 churches. Put them all on the prayer list. Doctors. They go to church, add them to your doctor's prayer list. Just keep knocking the wall down. This is not going to be a 1-year thing, a 2-year thing. Some people struggle in 10 years trying to connect. It just depends on if you really want to connect with them or not. If you do, start. Just start. Just be. Just connect. I really wish right now I stayed connected. Life doesn't happen that way. I can't control other people's feelings. I'm not about to have that stressor over my life right now. There's too much stuff going on. Too many things I'm already going over in my head. But y'all can't connect. Stay connected. Read a book together. Write a song together. Write a keynote speech together. Do a podcast together. Rap together. Sew together. Watch. Just do it together. Whatever you do, do it together. And stay connected no matter what. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to take some deep breaths, honey. Your foot going to be shaking side to side. You're going to have your arms folded, your fists balled up, your teeth clenched. You probably going to slip out some F-bombs. But stay connected. I'm trying my best. Every prayer list, I am staying connected. That's all I can do at this point. Well, that is my time. I hope y'all enjoyed this segment. And if you have any stories about your journey of reconnecting with a loved one, drop it in the comments. Good night.